The news summary, good evening. The National Assembly is debating the amendment of the anti-corruption bill, which come within 5 months since its last amendment in December last year. Introducing the bill this morning, the Vice President Ahmed Afif said the proposed amendments will give the Commission new powers as well as to clarify provisions of the anti-corruption legislations. While all members expressed zero tolerance against corruption, they were divided in the arguments on the amendments. Members of the United Seychelles questioned the constitutionality and intention of the bill. On the other hand, the LDS spoke of the need to give the SECS more powers to do its work more effectively. The Ministry of Education is re-evaluating its strategy concerning performance of learners, where it is conducting a training session for attainment officers from all schools in the country. The 2 training sessions ends today at the Seychelles Institute of Teacher Education. The training is being facilitated by Dr. Goran Lazendik, who is the research director of the Australian Council for Educational Research. This followed results released by the Ministry of Education that shows that over the past 6 to 10 years, students have not been performing to the expected level in languages and mathematics.
What I have been talking today with our colleagues here is how we can develop a system that can also support the learners. How can we use the competency-based approach to curriculum and assessments to develop a new generation of school assessments? I think we need to start with the school assessment because that's where the most of the learning is happening. So I think if we are looking to lifting the students' attainment, I think our focus should be on a classroom assessments, they should be on teachers' tests, and how we can effectively use information from these tests to turn the test results not in ranking tables, but into the information that teachers can act on it, but also parents.
Former President Danny Faure has received an award for his contribution towards development in Africa and the United Cities and Local Governments Africa. The former president was presented with the award by the African Union's High Representative for Infrastructure Development, Raila Amolo Odinga, at the opening ceremony of the 9th edition of AfriCities Summit that is being held in Kisumu, Kenya. Mr. Faure has dedicated the award to the people of Seychelles. The Maritime Academy has commemorated the International Day of Women in Maritime, which is today. The aim was to celebrate women in the industry and to promote the recruitment, retention, and to sustain employment of women in the maritime sector. It also creates more awareness for opportunities and career pathways for young girls and women in the maritime sector.
We are a small island developing country with limited resources. For this purpose, empowering women in the maritime sector means progress for all of us, for Seychelles. In promoting women in maritime sector, we must encourage and take the leading role in the maritime training and education. We thank the Ministry of Education assisting the sector through various programs. We congratulate the Maritime Academy for grooming our students, especially our young women, to join the sector in future. Currently, the Seychelles Maritime Academy have various fields which enroll girls for its vocational course. Seychelles Maritime sector look promising as a potential source of excellent employment and career opportunities for women in the near future.
And the Minister for Fisheries and Blue Economy, Jean-François Ferrari, has sent a message for the occasion of International Day for Women in the Maritime Sector. In his message, Minister Ferrari is encouraging women in the maritime sector to participate fully in their chosen field, as this is crucial for the country's economic growth, prosperity, and development. He explained that Seychelles' economy is presently very dependent on the tourism and fishing industries, and as such, the maritime sector plays an important role. Mr. Ferrari also launched an appeal to continue in efforts to raise the profile of women in the maritime domain and reinforce commitment to pursuing gender equality, as well as support all efforts to address the current gender imbalance in the sector. The opening ceremony of the 2022 United Nations Country Team Retreat for Mauritius and Seychelles took place this morning. The aim of the retreat is to promote a system of thinking towards sustainable development. The theme this year emphasizes on beyond recovery to sustainable development goals. The resident coordinator for Seychelles and Mauritius, Christine Omotoni, said that during the pandemic, both nations have dealt with managing the health crisis and implementing a multi-sector response and recovery plan. She said that this is the time to think beyond recovery and refocus on long-term planning to deliver on the Sustainable Development Goal, taking into account lessons learned from the last 2 years of crisis.
COVID has made that react in emergency recovery mode, but we want to focus again on the long term so we can achieve the SDGs. So we look for strategies too. We know that already there are programs on climate change, there are programs on gender, there are programs on ocean economy, maritime, so we want to look for more of where to engage and to continue our partnership with the government to achieve the SDGs. We want to find ways for financing this sustainable development, alternative ways of doing that, and how to advocate for Mauritius and Seychelles as seeds in the regional context. So we will be having regional dialogue and regional collaboration. But tomorrow we will have a dedicated session with the government of Seychelles at high-level discussions to understand the country context, the challenges, the opportunities, the areas of partnership. So we really hope to even engage among ourselves to know the different programs that we bring at the table, how we can collaborate together. So this is the purpose of this retreat, and we are happy it's happening in Seychelles and in person.
To commemorate the International Day Against Homophobia, Biphobia, and Transphobia yesterday, the LGBTISA, an association working for the advancement of human rights in Seychelles, has unveiled its logo on several of SPTC buses. This is the second phase of its campaign, which started in March, aiming to promote respect, tolerance, and acceptance towards a vulnerable group of the society. Yesterday's activity coincided with the 7th anniversary of LGBTISA, whose chairperson, Nadi Vidot, said that everyone must come together to better protect the most vulnerable in the society. The SPTC bus adds, with the message of love, is an extension of the association's campaign for the enactment of the hate crime legislation.
As part of our campaign to promote this legislation, with the support of the Human Dignity Trust and the British High Commission, we've launched the circulation of the SPTC buses with our message of love. We must all continue to come together to better protect the most vulnerable in our society, regardless of their race, their ethnicity, their religion, whatever their background.
Why the message of love?
I think love is a very universal message that people can get behind. I think to be against love or to position yourself against love is something that is a lot harder to do. And it's about loving your neighbor, about having love for yourself, and having love for your community. I think the campaign is becoming quite effective. It's about creating that national dialogue and creating visibility for those kind of smaller communities that sometimes are not at the forefront of our national conversation, removing taboo around some of those kind of issues. And just the more we talk about it, the more normalized and the more accepted that everybody can be.
And that's it for the news summary. We'll be back at 8 for the Creole News Bulletin. Bye-bye for now.